from the station working for you. This is WRTV News at 6, streaming now.
Thanks for joining us here for the news at 6. I'm Nicole Griffin. As the COVID-19 pandemic continues, Hoosiers are stepping in to respond any way they can. And tonight, a retired nurse from Martinsville is sharing with WRTV why she's putting back on her scrubs and answering the call to help. Kathy Thorpe says after hearing the governor put out a call for retired healthcare workers, she knew she wanted to answer that request for help. She says right now the state is speeding up the process to get inactive retired nurses licenses to work again. Kathy says she is happy to offer assistance, especially when it comes to doing the work of administering vaccines.
My license is considered retired, and when they talked about how they were going to bring retired nurses back to help out, I knew I couldn't work critical care. Everything's changed so much, but I can give these vaccines, and that's kind of what I signed up for. I thought I can give these virus shots, that we have out there.
Coming up tonight at 11 o'clock, we will tell you why Kathy says after years of retirement, despite the risks involved, she is not hesitating to hop back in and help out Hoosiers. Now to the latest COVID-19 numbers from the State Department of Health. Another 1,844 Hoosiers have been diagnosed with the virus. 35 more Hoosiers have died, bringing the total number of deaths to 7,496. Since March, more than 493,000 Hoosiers have tested positive for COVID-19, and more than 5.5 million tests have been administered in Indiana. The nation is on the verge of a government shutdown. Funding runs out at midnight Monday. For millions of Americans, emergency unemployment benefits have expired, and in a few days, the federal moratorium on evictions will too. President Trump is still refusing to sign the nearly $900 billion COVID relief package that Congress has approved. More now tonight from ABC's Andrew Dimbert.
With the country on the verge of a government shutdown, funding runs out at midnight Monday. President Trump is still refusing to sign the nearly $900 billion package Congress approved.
It really is a disgrace.
It took Congress more than 6 months to negotiate this bipartisan stimulus bill to get aid to the American people. The president's own team, including Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin, helped negotiate the bill. But now the president is demanding last-minute changes, tweeting, "I simply want to get our great people $2,000 rather than the measly $600 that is now in the bill." Some Republicans criticizing the president for not raising his objections sooner.
If the president wants to come up with more money to help more people, terrific. Let's sign this bill now so we can start getting our unemployment benefits out right away and then quickly pass another bill.
Senator Bernie Sanders says he also has reservations about the size of the checks, but that this bill needs to be signed.
Given the terrible economic crisis facing this country, yes, we do need to get $2,000 out to every working class individual in this country, $500 for their kid. But you can't diddle around with the bill.
Unemployment benefits have now expired for millions of Americans, and in just a few days, the federal moratorium on evictions will end also. Many people agree $600 just isn't enough.
$600 is very insignificant for the individuals trying to feed their families.
Daniel Morris is just one of many struggling business owners. He's now pleading with the president.
The American people are literally dying. They are starving. You're holding us hostage to this bill. Please sign the bill. We know it's not enough. We know it's not going to make up for everything, but it gets us by.
Andrew Dimbert, ABC News in Washington.
Andrew, thank you. Tonight, the pastor of a downtown Indianapolis church says he is sickened after someone destroyed the characters in their nativity scene on Christmas. For the past few years, St. John Catholic Church has placed their nativity on their property. The church is located on Georgia Street and Capitol Avenue downtown near the convention center. The pastor says over the past few years, he has witnessed people stopping with their children at the display, explaining why we celebrate Christmas. He says it's been a bright light in the heart of the city.
I'm so saddened that somebody's in a place in their life that they can do that, and in our day that people would be so opposed to the beautiful Christian symbol of Christ and the incarnation, His Mother Mary and Joseph. We're going to leave the manger empty for now, and I've asked our congregation to be reminded, as you see an empty manger, that we have a soul or souls to pray for.
The church's security company is reviewing surveillance video to try to figure out who destroyed the characters. The pastor says IMPD is also involved. If you know anything about what happened here, contact Crime Stoppers. That number is 317-262-TIPS. Today is a big day for air travel as thousands of people return back home after Christmas. Today's official travel numbers aren't out just yet, but on Saturday, the day after Christmas, TSA officials screened over 1.1 million passengers. That number is down, though, compared to 2.4 million people screened on the same day in 2019. On Wednesday, air travel hit the highest number during the pandemic at nearly 1.2 million, despite pleas from federal and local leaders asking people to stay home. The CDC recommends getting tested with a viral test 3 to 5 days after your trip and reduce non-essential activities for a full 7 days after air travel, even if you test negative. Now to your forecast tonight. Meteorologist Kyle Mounts joins me now. And Kyle, for all those folks that may be returning home, they're returning to some pretty nice temperatures today.
Yeah, a lot better than what we had on Christmas Day temperature-wise there, Nicole, where we were at 15 degrees and now about 48 hours later, look at that temperature warm up, 52 this afternoon, so nearly 40 degrees warmer here in a couple days' time. We're still at 52 downtown and in Martinsville, 54 in Bedford, and 48 degrees in the Greenfield area right now. The clouds are in place, maybe an isolated shower for us this evening. Bulk of the precipitation, though, is back to the north and west. That will be moving in here later this evening as we get toward 9 and 10 o'clock tonight. Still a little breezy out there as well. We'll talk about the next cold blast of air to follow in just a bit.
All right, Kyle, thank you. We are now in the final hours of a long-time holiday tradition in Kokomo. This is the last night for the colorful lights display at Kokomo's We Care Park. It's been a staple of the season for the last 27 years, but Mike Wyant, the man behind the extravagant drive-through display, is retiring. The lights at We Care Park will be up until around 9:30 or 10 tonight, but Wyant says if you are there past then, they are not going to kick you out. The annual drive-through Christmas light display was featured on ABC's Great American Light Fight in 2018. Wyant has also raised around $1 million for the nonprofit We Care and gave away thousands of toys. That is beautiful. Well, coming up, new developments in the Nashville explosion investigation, what the FBI is looking for tonight, and we hear from police officers being called heroes.
Daily dose of confidence.
From the station working for you, this is WRTV News at 6, streaming now.
The investigation into the Christmas Day bombing in downtown Nashville continues, with authorities searching properties associated with a person of interest. 6 Nashville police officers are being hailed heroes, and today they spoke out for the very first time. Here's ABC's Doreen Shaw with the details.
Authorities continue to review this surveillance video of the Christmas morning bombing that rocked downtown Nashville. Investigators say just after 1 a.m., this RV was seen parked outside the AT&T building. Hours later, police responded to a call of shots fired. As they approached the RV, they could hear a recording coming from the vehicle telling officers how many minutes until the explosion. 6 Nashville police officers now being hailed as heroes. James Wells, one of the first on the scene.
I just see orange, and then I hear a loud boom, because it rocked me that hard. I started stumbling. I just tell myself to stay on your feet, stay alive.
Officer Amanda Topping was several feet away from Wells as the bomb exploded.
I just took off in a sprint towards him. I've never grabbed somebody so hard in my life.
Officer Brenna Hosey helped a woman and her 4 kids evacuate safely.
And that kind of just put my heart up in my throat. I don't have kids, but I have cousins and nieces and people that I love that are small.
In this video exclusively obtained by ABC News, agents can be seen carrying out bags of evidence. Nearby, more officers in tactical gear surrounding a home authorities say is associated with a person of interest, 63-year-old Anthony Quinn Warner. Officials are working to determine if he died in the explosion. A Google Maps image of the home from May of 2019 shows an RV that appears similar to the one used in this explosion. Nashville's mayor on CBS's Face the Nation says there's a lot of momentum in the investigation.
I think there's a lot of public interest because it's so shocking that on Christmas morning, this time of greatest hope, you have a bombing.
He says his city is going to need federal help to rebuild. Zoreen Shah, ABC News, Los Angeles.
Well, out there across central Indiana today, those temperatures making a quick recovery here, making their way into the 50s. We are at 52 right now downtown, 53 in Bloomington, and 44 degrees in Kokomo. It's been a little breezy. There's that south wind between about 15 and 20 miles per hour. And we will have some gusts about 30 to 35 miles per hour here as we go through the next few hours. Radar shows that we are starting to see a few light rain returns here in portions of Park County, east of the Rockville area, moving toward Greencastle and also around Montgomery County there and Crawfordsville. The bulk of the system, though, that sits back into western portions of Illinois, and that's also where we find some of the colder air just behind that. Des Moines now at 30 degrees. So this warmth isn't going to last all that long for us. As we check out TrueCast here, we will see an increase in the rain coverage this evening, but I think it's going to be scattered and light in nature. Most areas not going to see a whole lot out of this. And in fact, as we get to about 3 o'clock in the morning, the rain already pushing off to the south and east, leaving behind most areas less than about 1/10 of an inch of wet weather. But it will be on the rain side here because the cold air just won't quite catch up to the moisture that's in place. We'll have a low tonight of 29. That'll come as we go into your Monday morning. Still going to have the clouds around here early on Monday, and I don't think we see a whole lot of sunshine. Notice on TrueCast here by lunchtime, still kind of locked into the clouds. A little bit of sunshine trying to work its way in as we go later in the afternoon, and then we'll start to clear out those skies just a little bit heading into tomorrow night. But with mostly cloudy skies tomorrow and a northwest wind, temperatures are not going to be nearly as warm as they were today. We will be in the lower to middle 30s for that high, and that breeze at 10 to 15 miles per hour going to take these highs in the middle 30s, make them feel more like the 20s throughout the afternoon, especially with that cloud cover around. Just 34 in Lafayette and 33 degrees in the Richmond area. Temperatures, they're going to be up and down all week long here. It is going to be quite the change as we get into Wednesday. Another surge of some mild temperatures. We fall on Thursday, and then Friday we come back up again, and there's going to be some precipitation associated with those changes as well. Checking out the 7-day planning forecast, 34 tomorrow with those cloudy skies, a little more sunshine, and 37 on Tuesday. The rain will develop throughout the day on Wednesday. A high there of 51, and then we'll have some showers, maybe mixing with a little bit of snow here as we go into Thursday. New Year's Day right now, it looks like rain is likely, and behind that, the first weekend of 2021, seasonably chilly with highs in the 30s. Brad?
The Colts have put themselves in a precarious playoff position with their loss to Pittsburgh. I'm Brad Brown. Coming up, we'll recap Sunday's disappointing loss to the Steelers and tell you how next Sunday has turned into a must-win situation for the Colts to keep their postseason hopes alive.
877, only ATT.
The headline from Sunday will read that the Colts lost to the Steelers, but a deeper dig into the details shows a bigger problem for the Colts, particularly if they make the playoffs. The inability to string together a full 4 quarters in any given game. It happened again in Pittsburgh.
I'm not doubting us. I'm not doubting our coaching staff. I'm not doubting the players. I'm not doubting what we're doing and how we're doing it and who we're doing it with. We had a bad game and our bad half, and we weren't able to finish it off. So we got to learn from it.
The first half was mostly great for the Colts. Jonathan Taylor chewed up the defense on the ground, punched in a pair of touchdowns, each coming on drives that worked more than 5 minutes off the clock.
Yeah, he's been awesome. Jonathan, you can't say enough good things about him just as a person, first off, and the way he carries himself, and then just the way he plays football.
Phillip Rivers found chunk play after chunk play. Big gainers to 5 different receivers in the half. The 42-yard touchdown to Zach Pascal had the Colts cruising to a 21-7 lead. The second half was a very different story. After an anemic first 40 minutes, Ben Roethlisberger threw a trio of touchdowns in just over 10 minutes. The third of those to Juju Smith-Schuster gave Pittsburgh the lead.
Striving for perfection is definitely something that we try and do, and
from every aspect. And, being able to put a team like that away after the first half is definitely something that we needed to do, because any spark and any life that you give them gives them the opportunity to come back and see and do what they've done.
Of course, he's going to throw the ball down the field. I mean, down by 17, he's going to throw the ball down the field. I don't know exactly, what went wrong. I got to look at the tape and see, what was different between the first half, second half, from players-wise and everything else, see exactly, what went wrong, what we could have done better.
Wholesale changes to the Colts' offensive line eventually caught up with them. Rivers had trouble finding time to throw, sacked 5 times in the game, most on any Sunday of the season. A fourth-quarter interception cost a chance to regain the lead, and a final drive under 2 minutes came up empty with a turnover on downs. Steelers clinched the AFC North with the 28-24 win.
We gave them life. We've been on the other side of those before. When you get going, when you get behind, and we let them. They were the aggressor. As it went to the 10-point game and a 3-point game, they were the aggressor. And I don't mean that from a play calling standpoint. I just meant in general it had that little bit of that feel of like, oh boy.
Sunday's loss means the Colts will face some playoff pressure in their regular season finale. Indy is in a must-win game. They'll also need a loss from either Miami, Cleveland, or Baltimore. One of those teams will likely have 11 wins and be left on the outside looking in. The Colts host the Jaguars next Sunday. Brad Brown, WRTV Sports.
CountsIN.com.
While the $900 billion COVID relief bill is in limbo, we are digging deeper into the legislation itself. If it finally gets signed by President Trump, will it really help people? Alicia Nieves shows what's in the bill and what's not.
The motion to concur is agreed to.
The latest stimulus package passed by Congress is one of the longest bills to be pushed so quickly through the Senate and the House.
This bill is too long, too complicated.
Thea Lee is the president of the Economic Policy Institute and says the $900 billion package will provide an instant jolt to our economy, extending unemployment benefits and enhancing them by $300 a week, while also issuing a $600 stimulus check and $25 billion for housing and eviction protection. However, those benefits only take up a couple of pages in the nearly 5,600-page bill.
There are things in there that don't belong in there.
We consider this a first step.
As more experts comb through the lengthy legislation, the list of non-pandemic related funding and measures grows.
None of us think any of this legislation is perfect.
Some of it are things that are not COVID related, like horse race commissions and so on. But some of what's in there shouldn't be in the bill because it's helping either people or businesses that don't need the help.
For example, there's a tax break on alcohol, an industry that has actually thrived during the pandemic, and a tax break for what's been dubbed the 3-martini lunch.
A deduction for business people who are having expensive lunches out. That's been expanded in this bill.
For all the non-pandemic related measures squeezed into this latest deal, there is surprise in what did not make it in.
The most important thing that's not in the COVID bill that should have been in is aid to state and local governments. If they don't get more aid from the federal government, they will start laying off workers.
Also not in the bill was an extension on the student loan payment pause and no transparency requirement tied to small business PPP loans.
The Department of Justice has actually indicted 57 individuals so far with stealing over $175 million from the PPP program.
RJ Cross is with the government watchdog organization, the U.S. Public Interest Research Group, and says transparency was critical to making sure PPP loan money goes to actual small businesses in need.
Congress largely squandered that opportunity to strengthen some of those measures that would help increase public trust in the PPP program.
Well, I hope that Congress will come back in 2021 and take up the elements that are missing from this bill.
I'm Alicia Nieves reporting.
All right, well, take a look at this. A restaurant in Bogota, Colombia is offering a juicy 24K gold-topped hamburger for a whopping $60. In between the bread are double beef patties, crispy caramelized bacon, onion, double cheese, topped with 5 pieces of 24K edible gold leaves imported from the United States. The owner of the restaurant says he was inspired by restaurants in Turkey where they served a similar burger. He hopes to bring new culinary experiences to Colombian diners unable to travel due to the pandemic. Now I'm wondering just how this tastes, the gold.
Well, you know, if it's imported from the U.S., maybe we could get some at a discount.
Yeah.
Maybe it'd be like $5 off or something, you know.
I'd be down for that.
Try it once. All right, well, we've got a few rain showers out there for us this evening. That brings in some more chilly temperatures for Monday and Tuesday, highs in the 30s before we jump back up Wednesday.
All right, Kyle, thank you. And thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you tonight at 11. Have a great night.